What's up, Moto fans? Michael here at Moto Machines, and this is the first episode of our Daytona race bike build series, and we are going to be doing an overview of the Samco Sport hoses. We're going to be kicking this series off with an overview of the Samco Sport radiator hoses. Now, for those of you who don't know, Samco Sport is a British brand and they manufacture extremely high quality aftermarket radiator hoses for nearly all makes and models. So to find out if we have one available for your bike, just head to our website and use the search by bike function. Now, the other great thing about these hoses is that they come in a ton of different colors, so you can customize the way your bike looks. They have stuff from red all the way to camo and then everything else in between as well. So you really can customize your bike to your liking. You should be looking at replacing your OEM radiator hoses for a couple reasons. First off is going to be age. If your bike is old, then that rubber is going to deteriorate over time and can lead to cracks as well as other failures that could also lead to a crash due to a coolant leak, which you don't want. Second up is going to be heat cycling. As you run your bike, the rubber is going to expand and contract, and that can also lead to failures similar to age. Now, if you're a track junkie like I am, you run your bike hard, and you want the best of the best for peace of mind, and that's where these come into play, because these hoses are made of silicone, which means that they're stronger than your OEM rubber hoses, but they're also going to be better at heat management. They can take the heat better than an OEM hose could, which is going to lead to a longer lifespan compared to your OEM hoses. Now, they also have a stretch and seal tape available, which can increase abrasion resistance to parts that are either touching your fairing or maybe would make contact with the ground. So that's added peace of mind as well. Now, if you want a full kit, you're in luck, because we're going to be selling these on our website like that, all under one listing. It's going to be a one-click stop and shop. You can either choose to add your hose fittings like we have here on the table, as well as coolant in addition to your hoses, and it's all right there for ease of use. Okay, so we're going to move on to installation now. The first step is to drain all of the coolant from the radiator, and this bike, normally that would be done through a drain plug, but this bike doesn't have a drain plug, so instead, at least one that we can't find, so instead we're going to resort to the lowest point of the system, which is here, and we got our handy little McDonald's cup here to catch the fluid, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna lie to you, we've been kind of struggling with this upper hose. Since we're not gonna reuse it, we're just gonna take a box cutter and cut it along here and just pull it off. Just don't wanna hit that, obviously. Okay, so now that we've got all the big radiator hoses removed, we're gonna move on to removing the reservoir. It's just a couple bolts and then you undo the hoses here. It's pretty straightforward. So you don't have to do this, but in order to get all of the old coolant out of the radiator, you do have to remove it. It's only 4 bolts and you unplug the fan and the horn. Okay, so after getting the horn out of the way, you'll have to remove the horn connectors. Just pull straight up on them, they'll come out. We now have to remove the fan cable, or fan plug. It's this plug right here under this rubber stuff here. You just squeeze down on that and give it a pull, and that's it, it'll come undone. And then we'll just unroute that through the rubber, and the radiator should be able to drop free. I'm spilling a bunch of fluid right now, but that's pretty much it. Now we just have to get the clutch cable unrouted from here. The last bit you have to remove to get the radiator off is this little clip here for the clutch cable. All you have to do is take some pliers and squeeze this end in. It's going to be hard to get a purchase on it, but you can definitely do it. And then it'll simply pull out of this bracket down here, and then once that's free, the radiator is completely free, as you can see. We got the radiator removed. If you do decide to remove the radiator, you're going to want to flush it using distilled water. You don't want to use just regular tap water, because over time that can cause water deposits and can clog up your radiator and stop it from working as it should. We're going to get it reinstalled now, and the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is to just lift it up. We'll move this little clutch cable out of the way, and then we're going to install the bottom bolt first because it can kind of just hang there. Okay, flush the reservoir, doing the same thing with the radiator, just use distilled water. We're just gonna hang this back up now. Okay, while we're here, we are going to replace this hose with our first hose. Just simply give it a tug. All right. Okay, so we did delete the horn for weight savings, so all we're gonna do is ignore attaching this back up. We just put the bolts back in to hold it there, and so we don't lose the bolts in case we ever make this a street bike again. And all we're gonna do is route this cable up through the fairing and just zip tie it off to one of the wiring harness looms to keep it out of the way. But now let's get this last bolt for the radiator installed. In order to remove this final hose here, we have to remove the sprocket cover just to make it easier on ourselves. It's 2 bolts, one down here and one up here behind the linkage. So we're gonna start up here at the linkage. So the little hose that connects to behind the sprocket cover that we removed actually connects right into here. So in order to access that, we're gonna have to remove this fairing bracket. Okay, so for installing this Samco hose here, after doing some testing, we decided that the easiest way is to thread it from the throttle side to the clutch side through here. And you're gonna wanna take one of your clamps and pre-install them. Just keep them loose. This one's pretty much just friction fitted. I can spin it, but it won't come off on its own. And then that's pretty much it. So we're just gonna thread it through. Get the screwdriver. Cool, now come back. Next up, we're gonna install this hose here. You're gonna wanna get some soapy water for this next part because you do have to fit the hose from here up through the frame over to this connection here. And soapy water is really gonna help you with that. So I'm just gonna soap down the hose and then we're gonna come up through here. You're just gonna feed it upwards. I'm gonna take my middle finger, hook it through there. See if I can't push it down and through. And that is why soapy water is really nice. Give the hose a turn. And just like that, we're through. Okay, next up is the hose behind the headers. You're gonna need the one that looks like an L. And get myself a little soapy water. Okay, we're gonna do the last two here and here on the cleft side. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in more content about the Race Bike Build series, then make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay up to date on all the latest Moto Machines madness. Ride safe.